An easy way to diffuse emotional activation and triggers is by simply sticking your tongue out. As little children, we instinctively do it. Our parents immediately scolded us. Over time, we got conditioned by overt and covert messages that expressing how we feel is bad. Particularly, any expression of anger and irritation was immediately shut down. We didn't have a choice but to bite our tongue, swallow our pain, and choke on our tears. It's not surprising that many trauma survivors have problems speaking. Speaking out meant more abuse. Suppression of our instinctive survival responses and the associated emotions keep us stuck in a trauma loop. Our brain gets wired to suppress any emotional expression. This lack of expressiveness gradually becomes encoded into our personality.
We live with this sort of sense, this quality of being shut down, of being frozen, of being in this functional freeze.
This enables us to manage life, but underneath there is this stuck emotional energy that can trigger us in a flash. Our nervous system flips between extreme activation and extreme shutdown. That's fight, flight, freeze, back and forth.
The freeze response are the muscles that are locked in against each other at a very high level of activation. And that energy is stuck in us. Now, therapeutically, the energy of the fight or flight response is actually locked in those frozen muscles.
The freezing response significantly affects the muscles of the face and the vocal cords. So even when we are in grave danger, one is unable to produce sounds required to verbalize, no, stop, help. I used to be the freeze fawn type, being dumbstruck when people disrespected me. My abusive father conditioned me to be silent and not protest during any conflicts, or else the consequences were brutal. I'd feel tongue-tied like Meg Ryan in You've Got Mail.
What happens to me when I'm provoked is that I get tongue-tied. My mind goes blank. Then I spend all night tossing and turning trying to figure out what I should have said.
To heal from our traumas, we have to release old survival stress that wasn't discharged. We have to learn to activate our sympathetic response of fight-flight. It means taking action, making some movement.
And what we have to do when we're working with somebody in the freeze response, this is really important therapeutically, we have to help them access that locked-in energy one small amount at a time.
The problem is that when we are with our therapist, we are unable to access all those repressed emotions because we feel inhibited and ashamed. Trauma feelings are not pleasant. Rage, anger, hate, resentment, shame make us feel self-conscious about being judged. But quickly sticking out our tongue is an easy way to release our negative feelings. Blow a raspberry like Archie Bunker in All in the Family. If you watch the series, you will see numerous variations of blowing raspberries. Ever since I began doing this in private, I've experienced a reduction in my trauma symptoms. Namely, rumination, the same angry thoughts overtaking everything else. And it's not just a psychological feeling of mocking and being derisive towards the people who hurt me. There's a physiological reason too. Our tongue is intricately connected to the vagus nerve, which is responsible for calming us. Any tongue movement and it activates the vagus nerve. Singing, humming, chanting, and gargling are the nice ways to activate our vagus nerve. However, I really cannot bring myself to sing when I'm angry. Also, one cannot do these things in public, but one can quickly turn away and blow a raspberry without anyone being aware. Just the thought of doing it makes me smile, effectively shifting my mood. Regularly doing this has changed my narrative of the past. It's amazing how even small actions can create new neural connections in our brain, leading to changes in our view of ourselves in relationship to the world. From feeling helpless and disempowered, I feel confident and empowered. There is something I can do, even if it's just sticking out my tongue. When we are angry and raging, we have to feel we are actually giving it back to the person who pissed us off. Releasing trauma is a visceral process. We have to feel the rage, the sadness, for it to release.
And so the very sensations that will help take us out of the freeze response, back into balance, into equilibrium, into inner regulation, those sensations are frightening often to a person. And so they stop those sensations from happening, but it's the very sensations that will take them out of the freeze response.
For many trauma survivors, it's not only about releasing the stuck energy, it's also about reclaiming our power.
It's working with the energy, the activation that's got locked in to those frozen muscles. That's really the key. It really is.
So don't quietly swallow your anger and hurt. Stick out your tongue and release your fight-flight energy. Additionally, sticking your tongue out is supposed to prevent Alzheimer's disease. And it's also supposed to improve your brain power. If this video has helped you, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel.